Hello, everybody. This is Lena with Forever Healed. For those of you who don't know me, I am the president and founder of Forever Healed. We're a nonprofit organization. And one thing that we do is we provide tools to those who are grieving, who are hurting, who feel stuck from a loss of any kind. So that loss could be loss of health. It could be loss of self. That loss could also be due to a death of a loved one. That loss could be your job. It could be due to a sickness. So what we do is we provide tools to those individuals to help them recover, to help them not feel stuck, to actually help them to reclaim their lives and to recover in a safe environment. So again, Lena Lasser with Forever Healed. I have with me Joanna Cameron tonight. We're so excited about that. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you, Lena. It's very good to be on with you this evening. Hello, everyone.
Nice to have you. So what's great about this topic, Joanna, is that we have had a lot of viewers who have asked us to do topics on working remotely while trying to homeschool. So a lot of our clients or followers, this is their first time, homeschooling. So they've been reaching out and asking for this topic. So thank you so much for being here. The reason why I selected Joanna was that she has done this before. She has 4 children. She has homeschooled them all, and she has done it successfully. So if you are homeschooling your kids for the first time, I want you to shout out, give us a shout out, and let us know that you're watching. Hi, Kim, and let us know how old your children are. So we look forward to just having this conversation tonight, guys. Again, just a very, this topic tonight is just, it's overdue, right? Especially with what's going on right now in our current day and time, to just a balance and working remotely and then trying to homeschool your children. So we are more than excited to be with you tonight. So give us a shout out. Let us know if that's you, if you are working remotely, and give us the age of your child. So we want this to be interactive. We won't hold you guys long. And we're just going to show a quick video clip, and then we will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Again, I'm Lena Lassiter. I have Joanna Cameron with me tonight. And our topic tonight is talking about balancing working from home and homeschooling your children. So what I want to talk about, though, for me, the first part will be just the grief aspect of that. And then Joanna is going to follow through with some tips and best practices for those of you who are homeschooling for the first time. Again, shout out to us. If you are homeschooling your kid, let us know that you're watching, give us their ages. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Chastity. So we'll start out with just grief. So outside of the nonprofit, I'm also a licensed minister and I'm a senior manager in corporate America. So I actually lead people leaders. So even for me, being remote now during this time, it's been a change. So I want to talk about what grief is. So grief is probably one of the most misunderstood growth processes that we can ever go through. And why is that? Because we are taught how to acquire things, but we're not taught what to do once we lose things. So what grief is just a normal reaction to a change or end in a normal process. So what does that mean? Going to work every day, right? So now I'm home remotely. If I was going to work every day, some of us, we put our had our clothes together our night beforehand. We drive the same route to work every day. You probably can do it with your eyes closed. And now you're not doing that. So I want you to understand that that's a loss. having your kids at school, like while you were at work, right? That was your familiar pattern. Sometimes you may be coming home from work and you might stop by the grocery store. And let's talk about the grocery store for a minute. Now we're wearing masks and gloves in the grocery store. Well, that's not our norm. So that's a loss. So I need you to understand that. And I can't find rice. I can't find the rice that I like, right? So even trying to go to the store and find your favorite brand of rice or bread or detergent, whatever it may be, I want you guys to understand that that's a loss. So the feelings that you may be going through, feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxiety about what's going on, I want you to understand that it's a normal reaction to a loss. So some people have even lost loved ones and they can't have a traditional funeral, right? Or a homegoing service because of this pandemic. So your normalcy has been broken. So it's a loss. So I just want you guys to understand what grief is. So once you understand what grief is, knowing that you may be going through some of these feelings, the first step hi Rochelle, nice to see you. The first step in dealing with grief is to acknowledge the loss. So why is it important to acknowledge the loss? You want to acknowledge the loss because you want to give your feeling a name. And once you've given that feeling a name, you have taken all power from fear or the anxiety that may come with it. So just express how you feel. So if you want to be whole for your children when homeschooling, the first thing that you need to do is address how you feel, like being honest about your emotions. Like I miss going into the office, or this feels overwhelming to me. Like whatever that grief is, whatever that sad feeling is, you just miss the face-to-face interaction. You need to express it, give it a name. And some people say, well, gosh, Lena, I don't know how to give it a name. Sometimes I just don't even know how I feel. I just feel stuck or I feel heavy. And what I say to them is, imagine yourself being on a highway, right? And you're so close to your destination. And then all of a sudden, there's a traffic jam. How do you feel? Right? You may feel frustrated. You may feel overwhelmed. So that's how you give it a name. I want you to give it a name. So that's the first step. I want you to give it a name. And then you have to verbally express the loss. So those unmet communications. So you want to express it. So you have that confidant, your spouse, your friend, your mother, whomever it is, someone who's not going to judge you. They're not going to criticize you. They're not going to analyze you because how you feel, because you're dealing with the loss. You have to express it, because if you don't express it, what we tend to do is we just keep compressing things and suppressing things, and we start to put on our mask. And a lot of you have heard me talk about the mask. So back in the medieval ages, they used to put on plays, and you would have one character that will keep changing the mask to play different characters. And that's where the word hypocrite comes from. So when Jesus called people the hypocrites in the Bible, pretty much saying like, what face are you wearing today, right? Because they will put on different masks to play different roles. So if you don't verbally express how you feel, you will start to put on the mask. And then what will happen is that you forget who you are in the midst of your grief. So we don't want that to happen. So that's why it's critically important for you to not only acknowledge the loss, but for you to verbalize the loss. So the next thing that I want to share is setting clear boundaries. So what I always say is that we have to teach people how to treat us. So what does that mean? So even when you're working remotely from home, you have to teach your employees, they have to be healthy boundaries, right? Your peers, even your children, you have to set healthy boundaries with them. So one thing that I do personally is I do a virtual whiteboard every day. So on this whiteboard, there is a weekly tip or some type of inspiration. Sometimes it's a scripture, and that's Monday to get them through the week. But it shows my availability, so they know when I'm available. I don't put the times that I'm meeting because I don't want it to look like I don't have the time for them. So it's just how you flip it. You see what I'm saying? So I don't say these are the times that I'm busy. Here's when I'm available. So they know that those are the times that they can reach out to me should they need me. Now, if you have children at home, At the same time, you want to teach your children how to respect your boundaries. So one thing that you can do is you can put up signs. So there could be like a green sign so the child would know if you're facilitating a meeting, I can come in during this time, or a red sign so they know that they can't come in during that time. Or you can have a timer, a kitchen timer, to show them that, hey, when mom or dad is facilitating this meeting, if this timer is going off, you can't just walk in during this time. And then that way, that will just kind of ease all of the frustrations that you may be feeling, or the embarrassment when the kids come in on the video or calling your name, or like my dog is doing right now. But it just helps with that, right? But guess what? Your peers, your managers also know that you're working remotely. So it is okay. But I understand, like, when you're facilitating a meeting, it's more challenging. And then there are tons of resources out there. Like, they have virtual museum tours. So while you're on a meeting, you can give your child a meeting. So you can have a virtual tour at a museum, and you can give them some key points, right, to take away. So after your meeting, you guys can have a debrief of your meetings. So that way, that can kind of help you to set those clear boundaries. So what are we going to do? We're going to acknowledge the loss. We're going to verbally express the loss. And then we're going to teach others how to treat us when we are feeling overwhelmed and when we are going through the loss. Okay? So those are my 3 tips. I am going to turn it over to Joanna. Hey, Mary. Hey, how are you? I'm going to turn it over to Joanna. And I just want you guys to know why I chose Joanna to join in with me tonight. Again, Joanna has 4 children. They are now adults, and I'll let her introduce herself. But again, how do you say someone successfully homeschooled their children? The reason why the Lord, I believe, had me select her, because I prayed about it. First of all, beautiful woman of God. Her children have gone on to higher education. Some of them have, multiple degrees, graduate degrees. They are entrepreneurs. They work really hard. They love God. They're very respectful. So who else than Joanna to come and talk to you guys who have been homeschooling for the first time to help you with your children? So Joanna, I will turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. And Lena, thank you so much for inviting me on with you today. You've definitely provided such a valuable resource to the community with Forever Healed. And it's just so profound to be able to share some of the tools in order to help others get over some of the grief that they might have been experiencing. Yes, I've homeschooled for over 20 years. I've had 4 children. Each of them have degrees or different specializations in various backgrounds, from business, even in the medical field. So not only have they been able to be well-rounded in church environments, but they've also been able to be an asset to society as well. So we're definitely really thankful and, blessed and thankful to God for being able to carry on in those regards. But one of the things I would like to say about homeschooling right now is the biggest thing is don't stress. Pretty much, parents and children have been this has been tossed into their laps within a few days period. You haven't really had enough time to prepare as, most would. So I would just say, even in a normal homeschooling environment, don't stress. Really try to create the most relaxed environment that you possibly can. Because at the same time, learning occurs best when there is a relaxed and comfortable situation. Basically, the children are feeling too what everyone is feeling, with what's going on in the nation today. There's some different areas that might cause a little bit of panic or anxiety. But the biggest thing here is, trying to make it as pleasant and peaceful as possible. And also keep in mind, this is only going to be a few weeks. So with that, if you can help with homework, you can really help with being able to assist with homeschooling at this time. I would also say to embrace the situation. Don't try to typically duplicate a school environment. You don't have to have a whole bunch of blackboards or desks set up. try to think Starbucks in a situation. Many times we meet at Starbucks, we have coffee, we have a couch, what have you. You can duplicate that same environment at home. Maybe make the living room like the reading room, make the kitchen the science room if you're trying to do, something with science, even outside, for science or art or what have you. So, just try to make it a little bit more functional if need be, but don't feel as though you have to duplicate the actual school environment, because that will cause some undue stress as well. I wanted to share a picture with you. Lena posted it up right here, to basically learn from the environment. And it's really, really simple to do. I can think of so many different lesson plans just with what's going on today. I know everybody's probably COVID out, but even thinking about the air qualities these days. I mean, if you're having older children that are using charts and graphs and things of that nature, you can probably create a lesson plan with charting that throughout the days, how the air quality has been affected with people not driving as much. But the duck picture, pretty much, I wanted to share that because my 26-year-old daughter, of course, everyone is home under quarantine, but she pointed this out to me the other day. She was like, "Hey, Mom, there's a duck near the Lowe's shopping center, and the mommy duck laid eggs, and she's sitting up on the hill, and the daddy duck is there, pretty much standing guard." And she was like, "It's been there for about a week." So I thought it was so interesting of the fact that she went there throughout the week to realize that it was there. She found an excuse to go back to look at it. So that was a learning experience. Now, in the past, what we would have done when they were in elementary ages or middle school, we would have pretty much charted how where the origin of the duck was from, what type of duck it might have been, how long would the gestational period would have lasted, how long would have taken the eggs to hatch, what kind of food the ducks eat. So, that's pretty much being able to learn from the environment. That's what I meant by learning from the environment. So just embrace that. Another thing, journaling. We're never going to probably experience anything like this again. However, this would be something so great for children to be able to look back on and be able to share with their children and their children's children. It's almost like being able to pass down a piece of history firsthand. So you can do something so simple, get a composition book, have the children journal what's going on each and every day. How you think about the who, whys, when, wheres, and what. Who's involved in with this situation. Where did it first originate? Well, how did it occur? What are they seeing? Some people are wearing masks. That's how does that feel? And let them be able to write down how they're feeling, and that can be a way for them to be able to be in touch with what's going on as well. Even some of the news briefings, have them be able to write out what's going on with that. Resources. Right now, there's tons of resources available. You have a lot of nice apps that can really be conditioned for a learning environment. The internet, YouTube. I mean, there are tons of lessons and learning materials on the YouTube as well. So that can be a definitely valuable resource for you to be able to use. And even if you're having meetings or what have you for a work environment, be able to put up a YouTube video for your children to be able to utilize. The next point I want to just bring in is scheduling. One of the bigger concerns that I've had questions about was there are times when parents are having to work now a full-time 8-hour schedule and still trying to homeschool. And I can admit that can be a challenge because there were times when I've had to work as well while homeschooling. So some of the tools that we used at the time was maybe start a little earlier in the day. So say, for instance, if you might have to be at work at around 10, maybe have the children to do a few lessons a little earlier if it works that way. Or if you have older siblings, have the older siblings to be able to help with the younger siblings. That works out really well. Also, you don't have to homeschool like for a full 8 hours a day. if you factor into some of the schedules when children are moving from classroom and things of that nature, that does take time. So actual learning really doesn't take a whole 6 to 8 hours. So 3 or 4 hours a day is sufficient. And I would say also, maybe you might not have to touch each subject every day. So reading definitely should occur every day, but there might be some subjects that you can probably rotate. That can be helpful. The next thing I would emphasize, though, is read, 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 read. Make available as many reading materials for the children as possible. Magazines, comics. It's so much information that can be disseminated with reading. The kids are learning, proper grammar. They're learning proper punctuation. They're learning context. So it's so much that can be just gathered from reading and stuff. And again, remember, this is only going to be for a few weeks. So this is what I would just really emphasize more with anything is reading. So, you can use editorials, newspapers, Sports Illustrated. There's so many valuable reading materials that's available, and I would just say avail the children of that. So again, we just want to say, don't stress, embrace the environment, learn from the environment, journal, and schedule.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you, Lena.
Any questions that you guys have, you can send your questions for Joanna. She would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Just don't forget, what you're feeling is just a normal reaction to a loss of any kind. So thank you, Joanna, for those great tips. Thank you to all of our followers. Thank you to all of our clients. Thank you for everyone who joined us tonight, giving us great topics. We're going to be coming to you again with just more of your topics and resources. We want this to be not just forever heal, but I want to reach out to the community and bring in experts to provide you guys with resources during this time. We just want to bring hope, guys. We just want to bring love. We just want to encourage you tonight. I just want you to know that you're not alone. There are resources out there. I want you to understand how you're feeling. So please just let us know other topics that you would like for us to address. We're going to be doing this on a weekly basis based off of feedback from you guys. So I thank you for just tuning in. And what I need from all of you is to please just like this video. Make sure that you share it with those who are homeschooling their children for the first time so they can hear the great tips, by Joanna. If you know anyone who is grieving during this time for any reason, please have them reach out to us, foreverheal.com. And we will definitely provide them with a safe environment and help them get through their recovery so they can reclaim their lives. So we appreciate everybody for watching. Uncle Kurt, thank you for joining. I see you. Hi, Regina. You guys have a wonderful night. Peaceful rest for everybody. And Joanna, thank you again, my dear friend. I really appreciate you joining me tonight.
Thank you, Lena. It was a pleasure.